bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Hey now, welcome, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man, it's Thursday, September 21st, 263 days, 264 into the new year, just 101 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Thursday night, Fadernight, open lines all night long. We're going to have Jon Rappoport here at the bottom of the hour and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube, you know what to do. Fade to Black, Jimmy Church. Follow, like, and subscribe. Hang out with us in the Sandbox on Twitter. Hashtag F2B is the Sandbox. We have two chat rooms for you. One over at KGRA The Planet or over in Spreaker. So we have two chat rooms for you. We have the Sandbox and Twitter. Any questions or comments during the show tonight? It's hashtag F2BQ. All right. Twitter's already... Oh, goodie packages from New Pharma. Look at that. Autographed hat. Wow, Fiona. Nice collection of stuff there. What did you get? She got a little bit of everything. The foundation. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I do. The foundation. All right. New Pharma, GNU Pharma. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. I really like that, though. We have such a great family here. And the sponsors, and I talk about it every day, but it's so important that I just want everybody to know. Our sponsors, I know every one of them. They're family. We talk all the time. I use the products. It's what it is, and it's so cool. And you guys get that. So you guys get the relationship. And so you go out and who does this? Right, where the audience orders from one of our sponsors, takes pictures of it, and sends it to us. Look, that's the family we have. And that's why Thursday nights are so special around here. I get to hang out with all of you guys and gals and just talk. What's on your mind? Open lines all night long. And I remember when we decided to do an open lines night, which, I don't know, 3-4 years ago now. And I thought, well, okay, all right. And I was, I just thought, how many, I did some reading. And the reading out there is this. This is the general radio broadcast rules. And the rules are, for every 10,000 listeners, you will have one of those 10,000 that is motivated enough to call in. Okay? Now think about that. So that's where things are. Now, if you have so what do we do? Oh man, we're going to fill up 3 hours of phone calls. Okay, so that means every single person out there, is going to call in. Well, it's been like that. It's been just a jammed up, fun night of the week ever since then. And it's true. I mean, look, if you have 25 people listening to the show out there, and you've got a little radio broadcast, 25 or 50, you can get all 25 to call in. It's it's possible, and I'm sure that it happens. They're friends of yours, and you guys do the rah team. This is different here, right? So, and it's just turned into that. It's just a great night of the week. It's the first time callers. It's just so fun, and I never know what the conversation is going to be. Who's going to call? Right? What's on your mind? And it's just awesome. Think about that. It's just the best night of the week. All right, at J Church Radio's Twitter, follow us over there and hang out with us on Twitter, which is #F2B. We use TweetDeck, and I haven't talked about TweetDeck in a while, but get TweetDeck, download it. I have the standalone version, but I think it just runs in browsers now. I don't know, but it's a Twitter product. Anyway, just download that, get it running, and then Twitter now runs in columns. Instead of just going to your Twitter, it's weird because on your cell phone, and you got your Twitter app, and you click on it, and there's Twitter, one column, and you're clicking around. That's not what TweetDeck is. TweetDeck is as many columns as you want to fit on a screen, right? And you can scroll left or right. Me, I have 4 columns. I have myself, I have #F2B, I have #F2BQ, and I have Rita. So I have 4 columns that automatically move in front of you. You don't have to click on notification. You don't have to click on anything. Everything goes automatic, right? That's what we do. Get it. Twitter will be a whole new ball game for you once you get TweetDeck. All right, Thursday night, Fader night. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Very excited. Tomorrow night, tonight's open lines. Jon Rappoport's going to be here at the bottom of the hour. Tomorrow night, I'm over at Coast to Coast, sitting in for George Norrie. It's Friday night, which also means open lines. That's the other cool thing. I do open lines Thursday night here on Fade to Black, and then Friday going over to Coast, doing open lines over there. It's back-to-back open lines. I'm like the open lines guy. Love it. And tomorrow night, my guest is going to be Dane Wigington, and we're going to be talking about the weather and geoengineering. Geoengineering the weather and everything that is affecting the world right now. We can throw earthquakes into the mix, too, as well. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night over at Coast. And then, so today is Thursday, so I can make the announcement. Let me see if Coast has got it up. Let me see here. Because, well, I'll just say this. My thing that I'm going to be doing on Saturday night, it's the end of the world. It's the 23rd, right? So there you go. Here it is. It's up. It's over at Coast. End of the world, open line, Saturday night. And my guest is Gordon James Giannotto, and he's a really cool guy, by the way. Talked to him the other day about Nibiru Planet X, because Nibiru and Planet X are supposed to be part of this mix on Saturday. What is going down with this prophecy that it's going to kick off in Jerusalem and the skies are going to open and there's going to be a 7-headed dragon and battling a pregnant woman. Yeah. It's all going to go down, right? And then Nibiru is going to come in and end everything, right? Well, anyway, that's supposed to happen September 23rd. Let's talk about that tonight. It's a interesting prophecy. And one of the reasons why, for me, we were talking about this the other night, that prophecies happen all the time. This one, for some reason, happened to grab the mainstream media, and everybody is talking about it. It's out there. The video is, and that's part of social media today and YouTube and how you can take advantage of this and spread something like this kind of prophecy really, really fast and get people's attention. This one, it doesn't have, to me, the strength of other prophecies, the believability, but this one has taken hold. And so there you go. We'll talk about that tonight, too. Do you have plans for this Saturday, the 23rd? Hopefully, you're going to spend Saturday, the 23rd, with me over at Coast to Coast because it's all going to be good. But we'll talk about that tonight, too, as well. All right. Don't forget, all of our sponsors here, Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, New Pharma, Ancient Life Oils, Sacred Skulls. And do I have my Sacred Skull on tonight? Oh, I don't. Oh, I left it at home. Okay. Sacred Skulls, Studio Dome speakers, all of their banners are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Their promo codes are in the banners that you need. There's a new promo code for Life Change Tea. It is Fader, Fader. Use the promo codes and check it out. River Moon Coffee, best coffee in the world. Fade to Black Blend. Every time I say it, I can't help it. Once you get Fade to Black Blend, I will say this. I'm gonna ask Twitter to respond. All of you Fadernauts out there, every time I say Fade to Black Blend and talk about River Moon Coffee, do you want to take a sip? Don't you? Isn't it that good? You can't help it. It's that good. It's that good. River Moon Coffee. Life Change Tea. We drink that tea every single day. It's part of our lifestyle. Life Change Tea. Okay, Ancient Life Oils, CBDs. Sacred Skulls, you've got to get one of those Sacred Skulls. If you can do it, get it. It's a piece of artwork. It's one of those things. It's going to be an heirloom. You are going to put that in your will. Your children will be fighting, not over the house, not over the cars. No. When you depart this earth, they're going to be fighting over your Sacred Skull. All right? So get one of those for the family. Okay? And, of course, Studio Dome speakers. Next month, kicking off in October, we have 2 new sponsors. I cannot wait to make this announcement and make this expansion with the family here, with our sponsors. Just allows us to not only support our audience the way that they should be supported. These sponsors also mean that I and Rita and our family are using their products. And so I'm excited about all of this. It's not going to be what you think, though. And that's what's really cool. It fits our puzzle. It fits our thing that we're doing with our sponsors. And I can't wait to make that announcement next week. Okay, let's get this show cracking. Right now, today, happy birthday to Bill Murray. Bill Murray is 67. How many quotes right now can you think of with Bill Murray? Right? Achieve consciousness. I got that going for me. You know, Bill Murray, one of the greatest, and there you go. Today is 67. Stephen King today is 70, and he will always make the list because of The Shining, and it's that simple. My daughter, Deanna, went to go see It, right? She said it was the worst movie she's ever seen in her life. I said, it's Stephen King. What do you expect? He's only made one good movie. That's it. The Shining. Pet Sematary, I guess. Maybe, right? Maybe. It. I thought, man, the original was kind of okay. Campy drive-in movie, right? But a remake of It, and I think they're already doing a part 2, she said, coming out next year. There you go. Liam Gallagher, ex-Oasis frontman, today is 45. And unless you were in the little pre-show chat that I did with the Fadernauts in the bunker cam, you missed my comments about Liam Gallagher. Love Oasis. Today he's 45. All right, Luke Wilson today is 46. Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, the Royal Tenenbaums, and Idiocracy. Happy birthday, Luke Wilson, one of my favorites. Our dead guy's birthday today is, and I remember last year when this went down, it was just such a sad day. Well, it's sad when anybody great leaves us or family or whatever, but Leonard Cohen, 1934 to 2016, died at the age of 82. And, of course, he wrote Hallelujah. That's all you have to say. I can officially say that is all. Happy birthday, Leonard Cohen. You know, and you go on a day like today, and you're so tempted to go and check out somebody's version of Hallelujah, right? And do you really want to do that? Because I did it today, and I got about halfway there. I'm like, man, it's a great song, and I get it. I really do. But it just bums me out. So, it's a great song. Happy birthday, Leonard. On this day in history, OTD, 1780. It's really hard to become a legend or legendary, right? Become part of urban folklore. To become a household word or name. It's hard. You have to work hard at it. Well, it happened in 1780. Because during the American Revolution, American General Benedict Arnold meets with British Major John Andre to discuss the handing over of West Point to the British. And in return for the promise of a big sack of money and a high position in the British Army. But Arnold got caught and became synonymous with the word traitor. Happened on this day in 1780. Like I said, you got to work hard at it, don't you? Fader fact. Here you go. DNA decays in the presence of heat, water, sunlight, and oxygen, but can theoretically survive for 1 million years. And that is a Fader fact. All right, it's Thursday night. It's Fader night. Got Jon Rappoport coming in here in about 10 minutes. And for his No More Fake Newsroom Live. And before we get to that, of course, we're going to have open lines all night long. And call-in numbers 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. The phone banks aren't open yet, so don't bother calling because it ain't going to happen. But we'll do that very shortly, and it'll be open lines all night long. What I wanted to talk about really quick is, and I mentioned this the other day, we have, and of course at the top of the show, September 23rd coming up. There's a big prophecy, end of the world, right? And the people that buy into that, for whatever those reasons are, and I'm talking about they stop their lives, right? They quit their jobs. They sell the family farm, move out of the house, take the money out of the bank, follow some prophet to the Midwest somewhere, to some ranch in the middle of Nebraska, and set up and get ready for the big day, right? And I'm speaking about the Midwest. It can happen in Japan or India or China. It's all over. What causes that to happen? What bums me out about it is here with us in our community, the way it reflects back on anybody that has freedom of thought or is awakened. And then we have this. How would you like to live your life thinking that this is all there is? That when you die, when you leave this planet, the reincarnation, the other side, and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person or persons that believe that this is all there is. You live your life, and then you die, and you turn into cosmic dust. You're in the ground, and you contribute to evolution. That your body fertilizes the soil and allows something else to live. But that's it. You are done. There's no release of consciousness. There's nothing there. Your soul, reincarnation. No. E.T., no. Parallel worlds, fantastic thoughts and wonderment. There are people out there that actually think like that. That there is nothing to nothing. And I have to stop and think, how does somebody see the world? How does somebody see the world like that? What is it that they look out and see? You know, there's no questioning, there's no wonder, there is no fascination, there isn't anything that no. They think that life is about getting up in the morning with an alarm clock, making some coffee, eating some breakfast, watching the news, going out to their car, getting in the car, driving to work, doing 8 hours, getting back in the car, driving back home, watching television, eating dinner, watching more television, going to bed, and getting up and doing it all over again. That there is nothing else to consider. There's nothing else to wonder about. There's nothing to explore. There's nothing to sit and ponder, ponder the significance of it all. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? I can't imagine that kind of person, but they exist. So when we talk about this prophecy is the end of the world, right? Well, who buys into that? And it may be crazy, right? They may be crazy, but at least I will give the credit that person is not closed-minded, that they actually ponder, they question their very existence. They question the past, they question the future, they question if we are alone or not alone, other dimensions, and maybe when their mother or father or loved one passes away, they sit and wait for contact or communication with the other side. They're wondering about this. There are people out there that when a loved one dies, they don't care. They don't wonder if they're going to see them again on the other side. No, they actually think that when you die, you just die. The switch is turned off. I had this conversation with somebody at a very important time in my life. I was 21 years old. 21. And when you're 21, you're tripping. You're tripping on life. You're wondering, you're trying to figure out things, right? You're making these life decisions all over the place, and you're always wrong, and you're trying to figure it out. And I had somebody that I looked up to, sat me down, we were the same age, sat me down, and total atheist, right? And said, hey, man, you know what happens when you die? And I'm like, what, man? Probably smoking weed, What, man? What happens when you die? And he goes, this. And he puts his arms across his chest and closes his eyes. I think he laid on the ground. I go, what do you mean? That's it. It's over. It's done. I go, what do you mean, man? That's it. You're cosmic dust. What do you mean, man? You are contributing to evolution. That's all you're doing. You just die, and you become part of dirt and the soil. And I was like, man, what? And it was such a heavy thought. And it was against what I was doing. Me, at that point, well, I'm the same now, but back then, when I was 21, it was all about UFOs and extraterrestrials and Egypt and everything that I talk about now. I was so into Giza and the pyramids and just things. I was out there trying to discover and back then, this is 1984, right? Back then, black holes are just starting to get discussed and parts of atoms and electron microscopes and computers were just starting to, all of this was, and I was into all of that. And I knew that there was something else going on, and I wanted to read, and I wanted to discover, and I was sponging everything up that I could. And he hit me with that. And I'm telling you, I went out to dinner with this guy about 4 years ago. Rita will tell you, I hadn't seen him in 30 years or 20 years. It had been a long time. And I go out and I have dinner with him, and he's asking me about the show, and we're talking to him. And he just looked at me with this smile. He's like, really? No, UFOs aren't real. There's no life after death. There is no God. There's nothing in the universe. There's no hidden mysteries. We're just here because we're here, and that's it. And he hadn't changed. And I'm looking at him as fascinated as I was when I was 21, fascinated with his intelligence, fascinated with him, and he was so well read. Turned out to be a 50-year-old boring guy. Boring. And when we were kids, when we were 21, I was just so impressed. I wasn't into his atheism. I was into his intelligence and his look on the world, and he was so well read and had been everywhere and seen everything and done everything. And and he just turned out to be this boring guy. Boring. Me, I'm sitting there next to him, and I got questions, and I'm letting, life and what's going on, and let's get to tomorrow, and life is wonderful. And he was just like a bump on a log. And that's what you don't want to be. You don't want to be that person that does not look at life in wonderment. I literally, as I head to this commercial, and Rita will complain about this every single day, that I act like a kid. I act like a kid. I goof off. I like toys. I like cartoons. I like fun things. I like to eat cereal in bed. I like these things. I still question everything. I want to be 4 years old and go, why is there air? Why is there air? Dad? Mom? That's me. So let's do this together. It's Thursday night. It's Fadernight. We have the best audience in the world. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back with the one and only Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom live. Stay right there.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic. And very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake newsroom in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world as it is fed to us every day by the Ministry of Truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash. They all go down, and we see the light of day. A new day. No more robots. No more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Good to be here, folks, as always. Got 4 stories tonight want to cover. Some blockbusters here. I think I'm going to lead with illegal marijuana farms in California. This is an alert if you are a marijuana user. This comes from an article in The Atlantic. Recently has been discovered small marijuana farms, illegal in California, these farms. These are not the huge ones. And from all signs, these are Mexican drug cartel farms. Small, buried in the forests, in different locations all around. And what researchers have discovered is that exceptionally poisonous pesticide is being used on the crop. And the primary pesticide that is mentioned here is carbofuran. C-A-R-B-O-F as in Frank, U-R-A-N as in Nancy, carbofuran. Just to give you an idea of how toxic this stuff is, it's used to kill lions in Africa, okay? It can create spontaneous abortions and death. Now, it is also poisoning the ground and the water around these areas. And nobody has a map of where all these farms are. There are just too many. And California is overwhelmed at the moment and will most likely continue to be overwhelmed in this regard because they just have no way of dealing with all of this. And there are various accounts of where the marijuana goes after it is harvested. And that is also uncertain as well, although some people are claiming that it, quote, goes everywhere. Everywhere. California is one of the main growers of marijuana. So this is what has been discovered. And it's quite disturbing. And there is no solution for it. And dare I say that California's attitude about the borders and so on and immigration for not just recently, but for a long, long time has obviously been so lax that the incursion of the drug cartels has been outdistancing the ability of California law enforcement to deal with it. And this is one of the consequences. Very serious. There is no set number on the number of farms, but it's estimated perhaps in the low thousands. They're not just sitting there next to each other. They're scattered all over the place in forests. Huge, huge situation there. Number two, I've reported on this before, but I have an update. How many medical drug prescriptions are written in the U.S. every year? You've heard me report a number of times on the show, giving evidence that at minimum, FDA approved as safe and effective medical drugs in the U.S. kill a minimum of 106,000 Americans every year. Extrapolate that to a decade, over 1 million deaths. And we're not even talking about the maimings and woundings from these medical drugs. I've given you the citations. I have reported on them over at No More Fake News. These are mainstream reports, mainstream studies. This is not some outsider coming in to do research. That's why I report them the way I do, because I want to show people this is what the mainstream is reporting. And of course, the mainstream media is repressing the story completely. So, in 2011, as I reported, doctors in the United States were writing 4.02 billion prescriptions for medical drugs. This does not even count over-the-counter drugs or vaccines. So at the time, if you did a little bit of arithmetic, you would see that this averages out to slightly over one drug prescription per month over the course of the year for every man, woman, and child in America. Now I have an update on 2016, and that figure of drug prescriptions has escalated to 4,065,479,343. That's quite a huge jump in 5 years. So that means even more of these prescriptions are being written. This is the pharmaceutical industry gone wild, completely over the top wild. No other country in the world even vaguely approaches this much blanketing by the pharmaceutical cartel. Okay, that's story number two. Now I want to get to what I would call an under-the-radar story that was reported briefly in the press and briefly in alternative media, let's say a couple of years ago. But it needs to be brought back. And I wrote the piece over at No More Fake News just after the anniversary of 9/11, because this has to do with the infamous 9/11 commission that was put together in order to, quote, investigate what actually happened on September 11, 2001 in New York, the terrorist attacks, and what led up to those attacks. Of course, we know that the entire commission was slanted, biased, was a cover-up job, and regardless of who you think or who you believe or who you have evidence for as the actual perpetrators, this commission on purpose blew it completely. But to show you the depth of the corruption, I'm going to read a few quotes here from my piece called Intimidation of 9/11 Commission Witnesses, the Minders A minder, it's kind of a British term, someone who monitors the actions of someone else, like a handler. Okay, on August 2nd, 2003, during the 9/11 Commission investigation, a memo was sent out to two commission attorneys, 9/11 Commission attorneys. The memo was written by members of the 9/11 Commission's Team 2. And here are the charges, very serious. This has to do with interviews that were being held questioning employees of U.S. intelligence agencies about their role in investigating, in supposedly trying to prevent what happened on 9/11. Quote, when we have asked witnesses, meaning members of the intelligence community, about certain roles and responsibilities within the intelligence community, minders in the room have preempted witnesses' responses by referencing formal policies and procedures. As a result, witnesses have not responded to our questions and have deprived us from understanding the intelligence community's actual functioning and witnesses' view of their roles and responsibilities. That's just the beginning. Minders have positioned themselves physically and have conducted themselves in a manner that we believe intimidates witnesses from giving full and candid responses to our questions. Minders generally have sat next to witnesses at the table and across from commission staff, falsely conveying to witnesses that minders are participants in interviews and are of equal status to witnesses. Minders now and then answer questions directed at witnesses. Now, who are these minders? Well, obviously, they are higher-ups in the intelligence community who are interfering completely in the interviews and clearly want to cover up a great deal of stuff here because they are intimidating their own employees. It's like the bosses are sitting next to the juniors. The juniors are the witnesses, and the bosses are sitting there looking and watching and sometimes even interrupting and answering questions or forbidding the juniors from answering questions. Wow. To continue with quotes from this memo, minders write verbatim notes of witnesses' statements, which conveys to witnesses that their superiors will review their statements and may engage in retribution. Retribution for what? Telling the truth. Minders making notes facilitates government agencies in alerting future witnesses to the Commission's lines of inquiry and permits agencies, intelligence agencies, to prepare future witnesses either explicitly or implicitly. The net effect of minders' conduct, whether intentionally or not, is to intimidate witnesses and to interfere with witnesses providing full and candid responses. Wow, again. What is it that the witnesses would be saying that their bosses don't want them to say? I mean, this is a serious, supposedly serious commission. Here are the employees of intelligence agencies sitting there being asked a whole lot of questions having to do with 9/11, and they're being squeezed and squashed and silenced by their own bosses. And nobody's doing anything about this. There is no indication that as a result of this memo, anything changed in the way interviews were being conducted, or that any investigation was done into these minders, or that they were forbidden from sitting there in the room. it appears that this process that I've just described here just went on and on and on. And nobody called it out at the time. There wasn't a giant scandal in the press back in 2003 when the memo was written. Nobody was going to the press saying, hey, this is an entire put-up job here in the 9/11 Commission. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. And the fourth story tonight, we go back to Australia. As Jimmy said last week, the show has many friends in Australia. And I reported on the ongoing intimidation and government crackdown on people in Australia who are questioning the safety and efficacy of vaccines. Laws and regulations have already been passed that add up to tighter mandates on children getting vaccines in Australia, mandatory rules. But now a new level of medical interference and intervention has come to me through a website in Australia called the CRAZ Files, and I want to give a plug to them because they do some very good reporting. CRAZZ, the CRAZ Files. So what's happening now is there is a new program being funded in Australia with tens of millions of dollars, which in Australia is a lot of money for the government to be shelling out, that in certain areas of Australia, medical doctors are going to be visiting public schools once a week on a regular basis. What for? To have appointments with students, young students as young, for example, as 12 years old. I'm sure it'll be younger than that, but you'll get the meaning of the 12 in a minute. Now, here's the kicker. In these appointments, the parents of the children do not need to be told that there are appointments, that their children are seeing the doctors. This can be undertaken with no warning, no anticipation, no knowledge on the part of the parents, and it's explicitly stated that even if the parents object, doesn't matter. Doctor can still see children, any children they want to see in the schools for an appointment. No informed consent from the parents. In one case, a parent objected, didn't make any difference. I don't want my child. No, it doesn't matter. The doctor decides. And the rationale behind this, which is totally unbelievable and ridiculous, is that the government officials are saying that a child of 12 is competent to give his or her own informed consent to the doctor without the parents. What does that mean? That means that the child can say, yes, I agree to seeing the doctor. I agree to permitting the doctor to examine me. I agree to permitting the doctor to make a diagnosis and to even issue a prescription. A 12-year-old child facing off against an adult authoritarian doctor is judged to be competent and able to stand up to that and to understand what giving informed consent means. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is the state, the deep state, the government of Australia replacing parenting and saying, we are the guardians of these children's health, period. We're not interested in what parents have to say. We don't have to get their consent. We don't have to even tell them it's happening. None of that. The state has priority over decisions that would be made within the family by the parents. Where's this going? Well, I'll tell you where it's going. This whole thing is a front for several things. Increased numbers of vaccinations to make sure that the children are up to schedule on their vaccinations, regardless of what the parents think about this. The giving of vaccinations in the schools. And as I reported on this trend before on the show here, the psychiatric diagnosis of so-called mental disorders in younger and younger children. Clinical depression, ADHD, bipolar, etc., 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 and the prescribing of highly toxic drugs to younger and younger children. That is another frontier that is going to be cracked by these doctors being present at schools once a week. This is where it's all going in Australia. And resistance is absolutely necessary, because this is quite an incredible escalation of the government/medical crackdown on the population of Australia. It's simply amazing, and it is happening as we speak. And people in Australia are waking up. They're becoming more aware. The intimidation factor, nevertheless, is huge on them. And with this latest ruling, more and more parents are going to see that key decisions that will affect their children's health and lives and brains and so forth are being made completely disregarding their wishes, outside their control, no matter what they say or do. I object. You can't do that to my child. Yes, we can. You bet. We can diagnose. We can prescribe. We can require vaccines. We can do anything that we want to on a medical line. And we don't need you. We don't want you. It's between the doctor, the school, and the child. Wake up, folks. Wake up. And that is my report for this evening.
No rights. Parents don't have any rights today. You know what's really funny? Going even beyond that, John, if as a parent, you have to behave. You do not want to offend your children in any way, man. You don't want to send them to the room. You don't want to crack them upside the head. You don't want to discipline. You got to watch your language. Because if they choose, pick up the phone, tell their teacher something goes, the police are at your door. You have no rights as parents anymore. You don't. You absolutely have zero rights. And maybe Australia is experiencing this true, and
I'm sure they are.
Right.
In fact, this is reported to me as one of the methods of intimidation. Child Protective Services in Australia.
Right. That's the biggest threat.
In this case, the word gets out, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, they decided that they want to think about vaccination before they do it. Wow, really?
Right.
Child Protective Services. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. Forget about, we're not talking about corporal punishment necessarily. We're talking about, as you're saying, anything in the house. The child decides that he or she doesn't like what's happening because he didn't get to eat ice cream.
Right.
Okay, so he throws a fit, a tantrum, whatever, because the parents, they haven't been strong on the discipline end. And so now this really escalates, and the father or the mother, loses their temper and says something. And as you say, the next day the child tells a friend what happened, and the friend tells the parents, and word gets around, and whatever, boom, boom, boom. Child Protective Services shows up at the door. What happened here? What do you mean what happened?
You're guilty.
My son went, nuts because he couldn't get ice cream, and we told him that we weren't going to give him ice cream, and in no uncertain terms that he did not have the right to, flip his lid about this, that we were in control. Control? Really? Let's sit down and have an interview.
Yeah. And the interview will be at the police station. You know, and that's it's really, really true. Totally spun out of control. And before I let you go, I got to get this comment in. Speaking about what the government is telling you and your comments about this and control. Last night, Rita and I watched a 30-year-old George Carlin concert at Madison Square Garden. And 30 years, right? 30 years old. And his opening line as he stepped out on stage was, "I don't believe anything the government says ever, or the news when it comes." And now with fake news and what's going on today, and talk about vision of the future, right? But it was how he did the delivery. I don't believe not one thing that they ever say ever. And I was like, man, you know, genius. Nobody listened. We laughed about it, right?
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
We laughed about it. Miss George Carlin, man. And there
I met him once at a show that he did at Humphreys in San Diego. It's an outdoor theater.
Mm-hmm.
This was he was preparing what turned out to be his last HBO special. So he was testing material.
Right.
This is outdoors in an amphitheater. He'd been there before. So I knew a guy that knew him, and we met briefly and chatted a little bit. And he said, "Man, this stuff didn't go over tonight at all." And I said, "I don't know, your closing thing that you did was the best thing I've ever seen you do. I thought it was incredible." And he said, "Yeah, but, no reaction." And I noticed that at the end there, the people were so passive that they weren't catching on in the same way that they used to with him anymore.
Right.
It was disturbing, I want to tell you.
Yeah, because he went from it to the public, not himself, but to the public, he went from his original stuff that he did that was, his comments on society that were so eye-opening, and we caught it and we got it and we learned from it, to it became his shtick and it was entertainment. So the shock value over the years, I think, just kind of went away, and it was same relevancy, but it just wasn't there for everybody towards the end because, you get a little bit used to it. Sad, but that's probably what happened.
Yeah, I think it was, as you say, it wasn't him. He was still as passionate as ever. It was just the audience.
Yep, absolutely. And that's why you're never going to change. Thank you so much, John. John, you are my George Carlin, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Be safe out there.
You too, Jimmy. Thanks.
Jon Rappoport. Start off your day every single day at nomorefakenews.com. I do. It's Fade to Black. All right, opening up the phone lines. Here we go. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. It's Fadernight Thursday night. What's going on this Saturday? You made plans? I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're of the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing, the real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product. What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tappy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black, Thursday night, Fadernight. 323-825-5045. If you can't get through on that phone bank, 323-275-9695. There you go. 2 numbers to call. Thursday night, Fadernight. So, set the tables here tonight. The prophecy is the end of the world is this Saturday. Have you made plans? Have you sold the house? What do you think? You can have an end of the world party. So let's talk about that. Also, in my opening statements tonight, talking about the people that respond to these prophecies and how they, I'm okay with it. And the reason why I'm okay, the alternative is the people that are so close-minded in life that they just don't question or have fun or wonder or why is there air? That living that existence. What do they see? What do they see? Me, I walk around in a giant Warner Brothers cartoon. That's how I see things. And I enjoy that. How could you be that boring? And my friend, who I didn't say his name, I just couldn't do it. But he grew up, somebody that was totally fascinating to sit and have these crazy conversations when we were kids. 20, 30 years later, he just grew up to be a boring guy, and those engaging conversations. And he was trying to do it. I just wasn't interested. It was just an unbelievable closed-minded life. So there you go. All right, so phone lines are open, and let's kick it off. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're up first tonight. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. This is Nathan.
Hey, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I basically called to talk about the show you had on Monday with Dale Harder.
Yeah, it was a good show, wasn't it?
It was a good show. And I, as an experiencer, thought I would say that, I identified with a lot of what he said, but I have issues with things like the reptilians. so many stories about the reptilians. And he never really claimed to have seen a reptilian, but he talked about them as being the negative entities.
Right.
But, in my experience, and I mean, I've seen, I always say I've seen about 15, but that's an arbitrary number. I've seen, many different types of alien-type beings, and never seen a reptilian. I've been taken in ships, I've been taken to places, I've been in other realms of reality. At least it was made to appear as though I was in those situations. And it's just something I've never seen. Now, I have seen, mantis beings, and I have seen Nordic blonde people, and I have seen things that could be considered a facsimile of a gray, but like he said, there are, maybe 12 different types of grays.
Right.
And I've seen different types.
Right.
But the reptilians kind of always throw me off because I've never seen one.
Well, doesn't mean that they don't exist. Have you been to Africa and seen an orange orangutan?
No, that's true.
They don't exist then, do they? You follow what I'm saying here. Look at, just because there's plenty of things that I haven't seen that I know are out there, plenty of things. So I can't. There's so much testimony and eyewitness testimony and things about reptilians, not only in modern history in ufology, but it goes back in mythology for thousands of years about this. I have no idea. I haven't met a reptilian, but I can tell you this: I would not be surprised, in a couple of years, 10 years, whatever, and things start to change around here. And somebody starts pulling off some masks, right? It's like, holy crap!
Yeah,
my next door neighbor, really? So look, I don't know, I really don't. But just because you haven't seen it, I'll give you another example, and this is what's really trippy. I bring this up a lot when we talk about Bigfoot, but pandas, you can go to a zoo tomorrow and probably go see a panda, but they were not around until just recently. They existed in these bamboo forests, but they hid, right? Nobody had seen. It was this mythological creature that they thought was either extinct or was part of imagination. And then boom, there they were, and pandas are real. But think about that for a second. That's pretty strange, isn't it? A panda, cute, cuddly little panda. But unless you had seen it, you wouldn't have thought that they actually existed. What does that have to do with reptilians? Just because you haven't seen it, and you haven't, doesn't mean that they don't exist. And what about the flip side, Nathan? Mantis. You've seen mantis beings, right? You just told me that, right?
Absolutely.
Now, what if we had another experiencer that came on the show and said, I've seen Nordics, I've seen Greys, man. I've hung out with them. I played backgammon with them. We've broke bread, but I've never seen a mantis. So those out there that talk about this, I've seen them. I've met, but I've never seen a mantis. So I'm doubting what people say there. You would hear that and go, wait a minute, right? So there you go.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of life, man. Keep your eyes open, stay awake, and listen to everything. I thought his conversation was a fascinating one in that what Dale, and I had asked him directly about being on these ships, right? And he said, you know what? I wasn't there physically, so no. It happened. That was pretty fascinating. Never said that he had conversations. Everything that he felt that what he was here was supposed to do was based on feeling, right? And I asked him all of that. So there you go. I thought that was one of the best conversations I've had on the show, and we've had some great ones.
I thought so too. I just, the reptilian point is just that it kind of flips my BS meter a little bit, but not with everybody. I mean, I agree that there are, possibilities of anything really evolving on a different planet or in a different universe or whatever. But I just know based on, and I mean, I don't trust every experience I've ever had, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the times it seems like I've been misled in a lot of ways.
How so?
Well, they put me in situations where I have people around me that are people that I recognize, and I'm supposed to try to figure out that they're not really them. Like they're trying to see if I can do that.
Right.
And then they also show me different scenarios of things, and I don't know if what they're showing me is true because in time, different beings have shown me different things.
When was the last time you made contact, Nathan?
Well, I had an abduction last probably about 6 months ago.
And what happened? Did you tell me about that? What happened?
Well, I think I told you that. Basically, I consider it an abduction, but what happened was I had an out-of-body experience that was caused by the fact that I woke up and I turned my head and there was this flash of light in my hallway, and I could tell there was a being there, but I couldn't make it out. And then I realized I was hovering above my body.
Right.
And
right.
Crashed back, and I crashed back down. And I didn't wake up until the next morning, so I really don't know if I got abducted, but I do know that I saw a being and couldn't make out what it was. And that's the kind of things that have happened to me lately. That's another strange thing, is that the experiences seems to have transformed into more like shadow people and things like that. My last physical abduction that I remember was carried out by what I perceived to be military men, actually.
Do you think when that happens, when it goes down like that, do you think that the men in uniform are in disguise? Maybe they're wearing costumes.
These guys were wearing really strange get-ups. Like their faces were covered and things like that. I just came away from the experience really with the feeling that they were human.
Got you.
Because they
Well,
mostly because I had seen a craft a few days before that was a TR-3B.
Right. Well, Nathan, just thank you for that, and always keep an open mind, and I know that you do. And listen to everybody, because I am doing the same thing that you're doing. I'm listening and collecting the information. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you. And that's what I'm talking about, the courage to come forward. One of the great things that I enjoy about this show is this. I have shared my personal experiences with you, and some of them I've never discussed before. And then you start a show like this, and suddenly blah, 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 you're just opening up, and I don't care, right? But you know this, and it enables everybody to understand that you can call in and discuss some of the most private things ever openly on this show. Get it out. Get it off your chest. You probably have never discussed it with your husband, your wife, your children, your boss, your coworkers, your friends, your neighbors, anybody. You keep it to yourself. I'm telling you right now, a couple of experiences that I've had, I didn't tell anybody ever, right? And suddenly I get the show, and I'm just constantly going there. Okay, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Let's stay on the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Mike up in Spokane. How you doing?
Mike in Spokane. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I love those guests you had this week. I mean, I love them every week, but that Damon Barry was awesome.
He's the best.
It was great. I don't know what to say. I mean, he hit the mine, man. He just made my brain just swim.
So did you go and watch all of his stuff?
Yes. Yeah. Well, at work today, I went through his videos, and I even posted for people to give me a YouTube vid to watch. But I start pretty early in the morning, so I just watched them. They were good. Now, number 8 I had to watch on Prime.
Right.
But it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. The 8 kind of tied it in all together. You need to, this is the deal. When it comes to Damon T. Barry, I hope he's listening right now. Really watch them in order. Invitation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Watch them in order. The thing that Damon does is he takes, when you hear him talk about Giza or Nazca, or Easter Island, things, when he's talking sightings and UFO videos, and when he talks about all of it, you're expecting something that you've heard before. That's what you're expecting, because if you're anybody that studies ufology, we've heard all of the same things over and over and over again.
He's unique.
Right.
He's unique.
He's got right. A totally different spin and connection on all of this. So you don't have to believe it or accept it or change your, some paradigm shift in your worldview or how you're looking at this. No, you don't have. But it's an interesting, fresh take on all of this. Now, that being said, you get all the way through and you get to the end of 8, the last 10 minutes of 8, his take on the defacing of these statues and gods and who they are. I'm not going to give it away for everybody, but the appearances and some of the anatomical features of these gods and who they are and what and so forth was a fascinating. Again, I've never heard anybody go at it like that. And that was I know it
was mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing. Really, really, really well done. And don't, for everybody listening right now, don't jump to the end and watch 8. You're not going to get the full impact of it. Go and watch Invitation.
You have to watch the whole thing.
Yep.
The whole thing.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, what a passionate guy. And he really appreciates this show and the audience, and he loves being here. And it was a really good interview. It got pretty emotional because I think a lot of people, and Mike, this is a serious thing because I went through it and Rita went through it. When you get into the circle of ufology, you get into this world and you're presenting stuff. You come into it as an outsider, somebody that has been researching it or having fun and watching video and movies and reading books and stuff. But when you get into the circle, it is treacherous. It's treacherous. It's dark. You get contacted by, you don't know who to trust, and you just weird things go down. And for him, he didn't expect it. I've had this conversation with so many people now that are just writing their first book, or they're coming in, or they're doing, and I give them the warnings, the same warnings that I got, right? And Damon, I didn't have that talk with him. I had the talk with him after the fact. And that's why he was, he was emotional, and that showed to the audience because You want to stay passionate. You want to stay in the game. You've got information. You want to do these things, but there are forces out there that don't want you to talk. I agree. It's crazy, man. And I'm not being paranoid. I'm not being some conspiracy guy. I'm telling you, I deal with it every single day, all day long.
No, I believe you. I mean, yeah, no, I believe you, definitely. Hey, I wanted to also let you know, up here, I tagged you in something on Facebook for Spokane News here, but I don't know if you got it, but there was a sighting of somebody reported about something flying low. They thought it was like a plane at first because it had the lights, like a plane would. They kind of described it, but it supposedly was odd. But not to stop there. About 2, maybe 3 months ago, like I said, I get up pretty early in the morning, so I step outside, and unfortunately I am a smoker, so I'll admit that. But I'm out there, and this thing flew across the sky. I thought it was a satellite at first because it looked circular.
Mm-hmm.
But Jimmy, it's almost like you're going to think I'm nuts here, but it's almost like it kind of morphed a little bit because from that circle, it went to like a triangle, but small. It was pretty far up there, and it stopped out of just going a straight speed. And
right.
It stopped.
Right.
And it almost looked like the front part of it turned. I mean, it's still keeping the back end shape, but like I thought maybe, okay, a bird or something. But you don't just fly in straight air and stop and then go.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How high? Well, you said you thought it was a satellite. I mean, how high up was it? What was the altitude?
It appeared pretty high up there. I couldn't give you a definite height, but it was like probably how a satellite would be.
Right. So how were you able to, it must have been pretty large, because if it was up that high, dozens of miles or 100 miles, it must have been big because you saw it. First it was circular, and then it
morphed almost to like a triangle. It's like it was a triangle shape, but the front of it turned like it was looking back. Okay, is that tripping you? That's tripping me because it tripped me the hell out.
No, I have a video up. You can probably find it. It's buried deep on our YouTube channel, but I think it's called "The Helpful Honda Guy's UFO Sighting." Right? It's something like that, and it was something similar to what you're describing. Now, not the triangle, not the circular shape, not it's not about that, but I did see what appeared, and I had, like 10 witnesses with me, 6 of us, 10 of us. And it took about 20 minutes for the whole sighting, or it seemed like it was about that long. Anyway, it was a satellite. It was in the middle of the day, but it was a silver thing that was moving across the sky, way up, clear blue sky, but way up, I don't know, 20, 40, 50 miles, right? Up. And
if you were to take a picture of it, it'd be like a little dot, correct?
Well, it was silver, and it was spinning. You could see it reflecting off of the sun like a disco ball. Right? So you could see like it was faceted and it was spinning. And this wasn't like a Mylar balloon or something like that was blowing in the wind. This was moving on its own way up in the atmosphere. Anyway, but the spinning slowly, because we watched it for so long, stopped. The rotation where it was spinning pretty fast, and then it slowly and then stopped and was fixed, but it stopped in the sky. Again, I'm assuming that this was some kind of satellite that was being positioned over Los Angeles. That's the only, that's the logical side. But anyway, it stopped above us, and all of us are sitting there with it was right up at 12 o'clock, and then it went up and went straight, and it took minutes. and it just slowly disappeared into the blue sky and went up and was gone. And it was fascinating, but it stopped. That was the trippy thing. Crazy. It went across the sky. It took minutes for it to move into position, and then the spinning slowly stopped. It was fixed, and then went up and disappeared into space.
Now, here's the question for you. Do you think it's ours, or do you think it's...
Yeah, I know. I ask that question all the time. I'm thinking, and I've never seen this before. This is the first time for me. I'm thinking it was a satellite that was being positioned and then placed. That's what I think. Could have been anything. I don't know.
You made a comment. Sorry, go ahead, finish.
Nobody videotaped it. I had a smartphone, didn't videotape. I was sitting there fascinated with the entire event. The guys that saw it first came up to me and said, "Hey, man, there's a UFO out there. Go check it out." So that was the comments, right, that they were talking that it was a UFO. It lasted for so long, and we were able to sit and talk about it, that I think ultimately, in the end, what I saw was a satellite. I've heard about them being able to position and move them around, but when you see it actually go down like that, it makes you question everything. If it's a satellite, we are able to move these things around, position them, move them up, down, left, right, in all of the dimensions, and place them and move them. And it's trippy, man. I saw it go down. So if it's ours, it's a satellite that we're able to position. If it's ET, then he's out there just hanging out, checking us out. The fact is, and I'm not exaggerating here, I saw what I saw. It wasn't anything else. It wasn't a bird. It wasn't a balloon. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. It wasn't something blowing around in the wind. This was high up outside of our atmosphere in the middle of the day. In the middle of the day. So there you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I believe you. Right. Now, check this out. This is not a trick question. Have you ever looked at the night sky and you're like looking at a star and it's slowly, so ever slowly moving?
I've seen it all the time. Like it's all the time. Yeah, with night vision, you'll see that stuff go down, Mike. You've got to get yourself
I want that.
Yeah, you've got to get yourself some night vision in Spokane. Man, that's like meatballs and spaghetti. Man, that goes together.
Yes, sir. Well, Jimmy, I got to go to bed, but hey, I thank you. You're awesome. I love your guests. I listen to you on your website in the mornings, and it makes my day. You guys have opened my awareness even more, and I'm pretty open-minded. It's just some things, I may say, hey, but for the most part, I love the guests. I think you're better than Coast to Coast, but I love you on Coast to Coast, so hey.
Well, we'll see you over on Coast tomorrow night, Mike. Thank you so much, my friend.
You bet, brother.
Have a great, safe weekend. All right. It's Thursday night. It's Fadernight. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. We'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
Hi, I'm Matt Ray for U.S. Gold Bureau. I cover the market daily. No matter how strong it gets or what long-term predictions say, you can count on one thing as certain. There will be another crash. It will affect your assets. And when it happens, wouldn't you rather be 2 weeks or even 2 months ahead of the curve? Well, Wall Street insiders have been quietly converting their assets into gold for the last few years. Now it's your turn. Buying gold and silver is easier than buying stocks. With the U.S. Gold Bureau's Investor Guide, it's free, and you learn how to buy precious metals in or out of an IRA or 401k retirement plan. Your investment shipped directly to your home and is 100% insured and guaranteed. You control your investments and shelter them against the stock market, politics, and unknown threats. Act while your dollar is still worth something. Call U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD. U.S. Gold Bureau, 800-885-GOLD, 800-885-GOLD. Call today.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Fadernight, Thursday night. If you're on hold, stay right there. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy. This is John from Fort Myers originally, but I'm in Chicago after the hurricane and everything that happened with that.
Wow.
And the reason I'm calling is I can't say that I had, and I'm going to use the word had, ever seen anything that I would qualify as a UFO until September 9th. And I hadn't called in for Fadernight because I had to process this, to actually think about and basically just like skepticize, if that's even a word, what I had seen. I was walking my dog.
Where was this?
Gotten out of Fort Myers.
Oh, it was in Fort Myers.
This was in Chicago.
Oh,
I had already
okay.
gotten out of Fort Myers.
Right.
And Fort Myers was getting pounded by the hurricane. And I'm walking my dog. Look up at the sky. I literally just, something caught my eye. And what I saw, it looked just like a star. Like, I sat and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, it's a very pretty star. It looked a little bit brighter than normal, like a normal star, but it was bright. Next thing I know, it shot, from my perspective, what would look like, maybe 20, 30 feet to the right. And I my mouth wide open. I was like, what did I just see? And my mom was out there with me. She's looking up at it too. And I was like, Mom, do you see that? And then she starts looking at this thing. And then next thing I know, it shoots back down probably about 20 feet. And it just sits there for maybe about a minute and 30 seconds. And it shoots to the left, same distance, almost. And then finally, it almost made like a box movement. And then it finally went right back to where it had been and just sat there. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, is it a satellite? Is what's going on with this? I still can't figure out what it is.
Right. How high?
To me, from at nighttime, from where I was standing, it looked like it could have been a star. So it was way past where it would be an airplane, or at least an airplane that I've ever seen.
Or drone.
It was high up there.
Right.
Or drone.
Right.
Yeah, it could have, the thing is, it could have been military, it could have been anything, but I had never seen anything like that. And the thing that just caught me is the way it just would hover there and look like a star, because it was so bright. And, it wasn't blinking. It wasn't, it didn't have any kind of other lights except for this light, like a starlight to it. And the only thing I want to add to it, and this is back again to the skeptic in me, the next day I saw all kinds of military planes flying over 90, towards O'Hare, I guess you could say. But we usually don't have military planes flying, this time of year, because the air and water show has already been completed.
Right.
And and I'm just seeing like, just like big bombers being protected by what I would, some kind of like smaller little fighter jets escorting it. And I just sat there and I thought to myself, what's going on? Was this some kind of military procedure? Is there something, going on because of all the conflict and everything is going on in the world? Or did I literally see, a legitimate alien? It's kind of mind-boggling to me. Like the skeptic in me keeps on leaning towards it probably was some kind of military craft, and maybe they were just doing procedures, but I have never seen anything ever make a movement like that. And as a person who's always wanted to see a UFO, I mean, this to me was legitimate. Like, mouth was open. I was sitting there in disbelief. My mom actually came in the house to pray. This is how odd the movements were.
Welcome to the family, John. That's all I got to say. And when you hear me talk about this stuff all the time, the night vision and going out and the hooping and the hollering and the craziness, and you hear callers come in or, and say, Jimmy, I was with you. We saw it together. It was cool. You hear all of these things. Now, how do you feel?
Well, and that's just it. I have heard you speak about the night vision, the things that you saw, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But I'm the kind of person that I have to lay eyes on it.
Right.
To believe it. And I love the show. I've been listening for a long time. I've called in a few times previously, but this is the first time I can clearly and genuinely say, my God, I know what these guys are talking about.
So fun.
I know
isn't
exactly what you might have seen.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is that I've been staring up at this sky every night now, just hoping that I can see something like it again. And I haven't seen it since. And, and it's just, I guess the part that's so much fun for me is that it's so neat to just think about all the different possibilities. Even if it was a drone or if it was this, regardless, this is technology that I have personally never seen.
Right.
And, and that's what made it a special event for me.
Yep. Life-changing, man. And just thank you for calling in. And, and one day I hope we'll get together and we'll go out and do it, and see something together too as well. And I look forward to it. I'm hoping for contact in the desert, Jimmy. One of these years I'm going to make it out there, and I'm hoping that we can see some stuff. But thank you for taking my call. I'll let you get back to the other callers. I just needed to share it with the Fade Black, Fadernight family. So thank you. There you go. You feel better. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, John. Have a great, safe weekend. We'll see you tomorrow night on Coast.
All right. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Have a great night. All right. Yeah. Wow. It's so cool when it happens. It is a life-changing thing. It's an epiphany. It truly is. When you hear the stories, you see the videos, you see the documentaries, the callers, me talking about, you hear, but when it actually happens to you for the first time, there's nothing, you'll never forget your first time. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, it's Fran.
Hey, Fran, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's Thursday night, Fran. It's Fader night, and I'm talking to you. It doesn't get any better.
Okay. Hey, the format for the calls, wasn't it supposed to be about what would you do for a World's End party?
That's my suggestion. You know how it is, Fran. Everybody's going to say what they, is on their mind. And,
exactly.
Saturday night, and I know that's what you're calling about, but, how can, you hear a call like that from Jon come in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what this show's about. So what are you going to do Saturday?
I don't know. Probably nothing. Cortana called me a little bit ago. She's up in Cottonwood with Javi, and she says, we need you up here tomorrow. So I'm going to be up there tomorrow and then going to some equinox thing, and that's the big plan.
Where is Cottonwood?
It's about 25 miles south of Sedona.
Okay.
If you go up I-17 to Highway 179 and make it, to 260 at Camp Verde, and you head west, it'll take you straight into Cottonwood.
Camp Verde. Isn't that where, wasn't that Bill Cooper's town? I think it was.
I think so.
I think Cooper was in Camp Verde. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So you're going to go up there tomorrow and hang out with everybody.
I guess.
All right.
That's the plan anyway.
All right.
But for the end of the world party, my favorite idea to do is actually sit and watch that movie, World's End, with Simon Pegg, I think.
Yeah, that would be.
And maybe do some shrooms.
Okay. All right, Fran. Well, be safe, and enjoy the end of the world, okay? And listen to Coast for my end of the world party, okay? That's what I'll be doing.
Oh, okay.
On Coast
cool.
Saturday night. Thank you so much, Fran. Say hi to everybody for us tomorrow, okay?
I sure will.
Thank you so much.
See you later.
You got it. Fran's going up to Cottonwood, the end of the world. All right. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Marilyn.
Hi, Marilyn. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got a little sick during the week, but I'm good.
Okay, good. What are you doing Saturday? End of the world?
I'm working.
Well, okay. Well, that means you don't think otherwise you would call in sick, right?
Yeah, but no, I got to work.
Okay. So what's on your mind tonight, Marilyn?
I'm sorry?
I said, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, you remember how I called Monday night and told a little bit of my story?
I do.
I didn't tell it all.
Okay. So you want to get the rest of it out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then tell the whole story. Start from the beginning because the audience may not have heard the first half.
Well, when I started feeling the effects, what I tripped on was acid. When I started feeling the effects of it, it's like your body is like a suit, and if that makes any sense. And then when I started feeling the effects, it's like I took off that suit and I was just a spirit. And I know how you've brought people on the show that they say, you have an aura around you, like there's people that have auras around them and stuff. Well, that's what I felt around me. I felt my aura, my energy. And I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, can you feel my energy? He's like, yeah. Well, we were both,
right.
involved. But I thought that was really, really, really awesome that I could feel my energy and I could feel his energy as well. And I told you about that. I looked at the stars and they looked like a pyramid form.
Right.
And after that, I thought about how the Egyptians were once, how the Egyptians once worshipped gods and all this stuff. And I actually felt like a goddess, and I felt like my boyfriend was a god. It was amazing. And yeah, I feel like there's more. I just can't remember because.
Well, you know what, well, Marilyn, this is the cool part about it, is that you now know that the possibilities exist. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. And so you don't necessarily need the assistance the next time. Meditate, think about it. And I'm the really cool thing is if somebody's got a really strong aura that steps up in front of you and you see it where you're not assisted, right? Mm-hmm. Now you know, right? You only need the exposure. Now I'm not going to suggest that anybody go out there and do some type of some drugs to go. You don't necessarily, you don't necessarily, but you don't necessarily need that. But the assistance, right? That opens you up to this. I'm when it comes to things like ayahuasca and DMT. Those people that do go out there and have questions about themselves that they need answered, and they go and they do that. You only need to know and find out that this other dimension exists and that there's something else to us, right? That is out there. We're not in this two-dimensional world. That world that I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Those people that just, they don't question anything. They live a closed-minded life. Yes. Right?
And, I know a couple people like that, but on social media, but I think that people that are like that, they say they're open-minded, but in all reality, I think that, if you're so into your non-beliefs and you're like, oh no, and they attack every religion and they're like, oh my God, you're wrong, I'm right. It doesn't make it any different than a religious person that starts criticizing everyone, It just, they're just at the same level of,
that's true.
That word, of a crappy person, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. And when, one thing that turns me off about people in general, and certainly researchers, if you say that I'm right and everybody else is wrong, I almost clamp down. I turn off. With what is really cool is a researcher or somebody that is out there doing their thing, and you're talking to them and they say, I didn't know that. That now we have a conversation, because they are exploring and trying to learn new things. I say it all the time. I didn't know that. Really? And my wheels get turning. That is exploratory. That is a wonderful thing. I can promise you that there are authors or researchers or people right now that are listening to this show as I speak right now that know that they have said either publicly or to me or whatever, you know what? I'm right. Everybody else is wrong. Go read my book. I said this once, and you know what? No, everybody out there is wrong. I don't listen to anything. I don't care. I know what I know. You know what?
Yeah.
There's a reason why you're not back on this show, because I don't need it. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Be safe and be well out there. We'll see you tomorrow night on Coast.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great conversation right there. It's really true. I want to hear from somebody that says, I didn't know that. Really? I'm going to go check that out. That's interesting. I don't agree with it, but you know what? I find that interesting. Now we have a conversation, and that is somebody that is probably going to maybe expand their horizons, maybe change their mind, maybe write a different book, maybe explore something, maybe change their view. And that's what is with all of life. That's the way it needs to be. How boring is it to just think that you're right? That is just boring. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy Church.
Hi, who's this?
This is Eliana from Hawaii.
Eliana from Hawaii. Hey, Eliana, are you next? Yes. Are you next to an open window? What is that?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm driving home.
Okay, yeah.
Should I have waited?
Yeah, roll up the window. Okay, now we got you. How are you? How's Hawaii?
It's amazing.
Oh,
it's beautiful. It's almost winter, but it's still really nice outside.
What's the
Can't
best?
complain.
What's the best radio show in the world?
Oh, Fade to Black Radio.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So, what's new in your world out there? What's on your mind?
So what's on my mind is, okay, so I'm currently a sophomore in college. I'm finishing up my general ed requirements, the same run-of-the-mill courses that all college students are required to take,
Right.
And so now I'm kind of thinking of where I would like to transfer to as far as university goes. And I don't know, I've just been so disappointed with the education system, as you've talked about, especially that show with Damon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking of doing an individualized major. I'm looking at NYU or Hamilton right now.
Wow.
And so I'm kind of just figuring out how I'm going to piece that together. And I was wondering what the consensus is that you found with your guests of how they've been able to sort of shape their careers and figure out which aspects of knowledge to choose from in order to do that.
Yeah.
Right now I'm thinking of doing journalism as well as the study of both metaphysics and esoteric knowledge in the ancient world.
Sure.
So I'll be able to travel around and,
right.
the basic stuff, the best stuff out there. So
Right.
I don't know. I just wanted to get your opinion.
Yeah, and congratulations on that. And NYU, great college, great city, obviously. I think it's a little stuffy. That's a pretty affluent student base. That's not a cheap school to go to, and it's not a cheap city to live in. But if you get past all of that,
that's the downfall.
Yeah, it is. But man, I would go to NYU if I could. If I won that lottery tomorrow, Rita and I are moving to New York City. I'm going to NYU, and I'm going to build the Jimmy Church Library, and to make sure that I get into the school.
I'm trying to do this program that would actually give me a full ride. So, I mean, if I do that, then there's no question.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to say this because I'm going through this with Rita and I, with our two daughters right now that are both in college. This is my advice. If I would, if I was in school today, knowing what I know now, the basics and that I would do, if I had a checklist, I would definitely do Egypt. I would do the history of Egypt. I would do Greece. I would do Rome. The basics of that to go through, because you will be able to rattle off of the tip of your tongue, all of the monuments, all of the temples, all of the gods, all of the leaders, all of that, the wars, the philosophy, for all of those cultures. I would bang out those three. And the reason why is because that gives you the foundation to have a conversation with everybody, because that is what everybody else studies too as well. You want to be part of the party, right? You want to be in
Absolutely.
Right. You want to be in a room. If somebody brings up Rome, you want to be able to discuss Rome. You don't want to skip over that.
Everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And certainly Egypt is so, when you discuss, there's a lot to learn about Greece. There's a lot to learn about Rome. But those are short, periods of time. Compared to Egypt, that's 3,000 years of history to study. That's a lot of stuff to swallow. And the other thing, and this is what Rita and I are, this is our flavor of the month right now, is Babylon. Babylon. Babylon.
Yeah.
Babylon, Iraq, that is as old or older than anything else that is out there. But that is a fascinating, the kings. You go down the kings list of Baghdad, going back to everything, that is a crazy part of world history right there. So that's what I would do. I would start there. Journalism, there's a few different aspects, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. We're going to go right up to a break here. Is this, with journalism, how do you want to approach it? Do you want to write? Do you want to...
It's going to be multimedia journalism. Right now I'm studying video journalism and also writing, because I feel that's important too. But just in today's world, I feel like people have such a short attention span that they just need the information very quickly, and I want to be able to provide that. Yeah,
don't do what all the other people are doing in journalism when it comes to multimedia stuff. They all want to be entertainment tonight, red carpet, ignore, let those doofuses do their thing, okay? What you want to be able to...
And the only thing I'm worried about is running into these academics as well that are going to try and shut me down or lead me in the wrong direction. I just need to find my people that are on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Just call me or call Rita. We'll give you all the advice you need for that.
Will do.
Have fun. It's great to hear your voice, and we're going to go right up to a break here, but obviously we're discussing other stuff off of the air too as well, but just have fun. Enjoy life. This is the one part of your life that you can never get any of it back. But college will set the tone for you for the rest of your life, and getting that foundation is one of the most wonderful things. And like I said, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'm not going to go party. I'm going back to college. That's what I'm doing because it is wonderful.
Come back with me.
I you know what, Rita and I would. Yeah, Rita and I would definitely do it. Ileana, be safe and be well. We'll see you tomorrow night on Coast.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. Have a good night.
You too. Man, how cool is that? Driving around Hawaii with the window down, calling in to Fade to Black. You know what? Life doesn't suck for Eliana in Hawaii. All right. It's Thursday night, Fadernight. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Do you worry a lot? If you're forgetful, nervous, moody, or overwhelmed, chances are you're not protecting yourself from the ravaging effects of stress and anxiety. No matter the cause, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, your quality of life, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in as little as 1 to 2 weeks and increase your ability to recall facts, names, and numbers in 4 to 12 weeks. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. Try Calm and Clever for 2 months. You'll feel the difference. Call 1-800-758-8746 or go to calmandclever.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, Fadernight. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. What are you going to do this Saturday? Right? The end of the world. It's supposed to go down over Jerusalem, in the skies of Jerusalem. Nibiru, Planet X, is going to come in and fire and brimstone and the end of all, right? What are you doing Saturday? What's going to happen on Sunday? You know, and if you're going to be a prophet, if you're going to go and have a prophecy and you're going to publish it, you better be right. That's all I got to say. All right? You better be right. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, it's Les in Austin.
Hey, Les in Austin. How are you, man?
Good. I've got a little bit of hurricane trivia for you to prepare for this weekend show.
Okay. Hit me.
All right. A hurricane releases energy through the formation of clouds, rain, etc., and etc. If you calculate all that, that's the equivalent of 200 times the total electrical generating capacity of the entire planet. That's as much as 10,000 nuclear bombs.
Wow.
So now, I know they geoengineer. That's no doubt. You can look up in the sky and see that contrails are not contrails anymore. But the fact that they're good enough to create or do anything with the hurricane is a little bit beyond what we're able to do, I think. It's just my best guess. And I really believe if you look at the data, because even the Brain Trust, and it just came out in an article with Nature magazine, the Brain Trust that the IPCC has been using to say CO2 and this and that is causing the Earth to get warmer. Well, they just released a peer-reviewed article that says all those models have overestimated the effect of carbon by 50%. It blows a hole in it.
Okay.
Certain areas are getting warmer, certain are getting colder. If you look at the history of climate on this planet, especially just the last 2,000 years, it looks like we're moving into a colder phase. Now, if we move into a colder phase, can Monsanto sell as much pesticide and Terminator seeds? Or so on and so forth. So if they're playing with the weather, they're doing it for economic reasons, and they don't want it to get colder. See what I mean?
This is my take. And then I'm going to leave you on hold. I'm going to leave you on hold because I'm going to read something to you that was just released. But this is my take. The planet has gone through so many huge events, and I'm talking about comets, meteors, ice ages, hurricanes, the elimination of species, today on planet Earth, 95% of everything that has ever lived in the history of the planet is gone, is extinct, right? So the planet is robust and will always come back. The amount of carbon dioxide that is in the air, and I've talked about this many, many, many times on this show, has gone up and down, up and down, up and down. With the dinosaurs, the amount of methane and things that were emitted from those guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being said, I'm going to put you on hold. And then I'm going to have you come back and respond to this. Okay, it's interesting that you called, but I was just going to do this. Over the past 540 million years, the Earth has suffered 5 mass extinction events, the worst of which wiped out more than 9% of the marine life on the planet. A new study has suggested that the next such catastrophe is just a few years away, around 2100. Now listen to me. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, geophysicist and mathematician Daniel Rothman has been really busy of late, studying previous mass extinctions. He reckons that the next one might be just 83 years away. The previous 5 catastrophic events each unfolded over millions of years and involved the natural cycle of carbon through the oceans and the atmosphere being disturbed, resulting in some cases the death of almost all life on the planet. The award-winning mathematician identified 2 thresholds of catastrophe. That's right. That, if exceeded, would upset the natural order of the cycle, leading to an unstable environment and eventually a mass extinction. In other words, Earth gets to a certain point. With carbon, gets to a certain point, it burps, it resets, everything is wiped out, and while that process is occurring, things clean, things get reset, and we start back over at a balance. The first relates, now all of this was put out today in the journal Science Advances, just so you know. Now, he talks about all of these cycles, and the first relates to changes in the carbon cycle over a period of thousands of millions of years. A mass extinction will occur if the rate of change in the cycle occurs faster than the global ecosystems can adapt. The second pertains to the size or magnitude of the carbon flux over a shorter period and has been the case over the last century. Therein lies the problem. I have to say, however, as Rothman says, and I'm quoting here, how can you really compare these great events in the geologic past, which occur over such vast timescales, to what is going on today, which is centuries at the longest? And you have to remember, we're talking about the Industrial Revolution. We're talking about coal firing plants and the building of factories and cars and other things. We're just talking about a couple of 100 years here, okay? So he says this. So I sat down one summer day and tried to think about how one might go about this systematically. He set out searching through hundreds of geochemistry papers trying to find an answer, classifying the events as either long or short in duration. Throughout his studies, Rothman identified 31 instances over the past 542 million years in which a major change occurred in the carbon cycle. Now listen to me. Following this, he devised a mathematical formula to determine the total mass of carbon added to the oceans during each event. After which, and he says here, it became evident that there was a characteristic rate of change that the system basically didn't like to go to or go past. Now listen to this, and it gets really, really interesting. He did all the math. He did all of the research. And what he compiled is that tipping point, that number, that tipping point where everything goes to hell is 310 gigatons. He thinks that the given rise of carbon dioxide over the last century, a sixth mass extinction could be on its way, as the estimates suggest, and that humans will add roughly 310 gigatons to the cycle by 2100. That it is in 83 years. So each one of these 31 events over the past 542 million years, the magic number that the Earth cannot handle is 310 gigatons in our Earth's oceans. When that happens, it all stops. It just doesn't function as a machine. The natural order of things don't work. It comes to a grinding halt. Now, he goes on to say, and I'm quoting here, this is not saying that a disaster occurs the next day. It's saying that if left unchecked, the carbon cycle would move into a realm which would be no longer stable and would behave in a way that would be difficult to predict. In the geologic past, this type of behavior is associated with mass extinction. Now, his paper was published yesterday in the journal Science Advances. So that's what's interesting here. Now, we can talk about carbon. We can talk about holes in the ozone. We can talk about the instability of things. We can talk about global warming. All of these things, in my opinion, out of our control. Are we contributing to it? He is measuring this. The number that shows up to him through 31 different events over 542 million years, that tipping point, 310 gigatons in the Earth's oceans. And if we continue on the current path, we're going to hit 310 gigatons at 2100. And yes, we humans are contributing to it. There you go. Frightening? Absolutely. I've often thought, you push and you push and you push and you get to a point and you don't even know it the day before, right? But the planet itself runs a certain way. Nature works. The extinction of animals, the extinction of bugs and insects and everything, it's happened over and over and over again. And life didn't end here. The extinction events were caused those species to become extinct. You know, the elimination of bees or it alarms me, or monarch butterflies, or, you know, it is said over and over again that 25 species a day disappear off this planet. Are we contributing to that? Probably not. Now, before you freak out and you send me an email, or somebody that knows everything is going to send me an email and say that I am wrong, you know what? Man has been here for 100,000 years, 150,000 years, 200,000 years. I can tell you this, and with confidence, that 100 million years ago, man had nothing to do with these extinction events. 200 million years ago, 300 million years ago, we weren't around to contribute to it. Now, are we contributing to it today? Yes, because we are here. And can we curb it? Yes. Can we do something about it? Yes. Can we measure the oceans and the amount of carbon in those oceans and do something about it? Yes, we have the technology. But I'm not even so sure that man wasn't around 100 million years ago and we were some advanced civilization and we are buried 200 feet under the ground right now, and we have no evidence of man being here then. And we went through those cycles and we were extinctified. I don't know these answers. I don't have these answers. But if we listen to academia today, I can assuredly say if we believe academia and we believe anthropologists and we believe historians, then man has been here at best 200,000 years at the far reaches of that. So the extinction of all of these species over the last 4.5 billion years of this planet, man had nothing to do with it. What did have something to do with it is 310 gigatons of carbon in the ocean, and it has been measured over and over and over again. Rothman's paper is an eye-opener. So now, okay, I'm going to give you a crack at it. Yeah, pretty interesting, huh?
I think it's amazing. You know what I think? I think we could be very unlucky to have chose to be living right now, and we better start growing trees fast, and we better hope it's not getting cold to not help us grow trees.
Well, and there's
because that's the only thing that's going to absorb the CO2.
Well, that's part of it. Now we have other things that live in the ocean and algae and things that contribute to the carbon levels in the ocean. But the other part that he brings up here, and you have to read the entire paper and you have to understand, it's not just one thing or another. It could be a comet or a meteor, striking the Earth and causing a dust and cloud layer around that doesn't allow sunlight to come in. And the next thing you know, the trees aren't creating oxygen and the carbon levels are offset. And there's all kinds of things that contribute to this. But the fact is that the magic number that he has found is 310 gigatons of carbon in the oceans. And at our current trend, over the last couple of 100 years, we are contributing to that. All right? But it's not going to be any one thing, right? But this mass extinction event, we can measure it and we know. And he says clearly, it doesn't mean that the next day you get to 310, that the next day everything is over. But we don't know that, and we don't want to get to that point. We don't want to, but it is an interesting paper, and I've just thought about it so many times. Why isn't science going back and applying things? Looking at what Al Gore and his documentary, and it's frightening information. And you can look at the charts, and you can look at the warming, you can look at the ice, and you can look at this, and you can measure things. But that is not actual science. Science is when you have a geophysicist go back and actually plot out and give us numbers and try to figure out what is causing it and what are the warning signs. I don't want to look at a chart or a graph saying that the Earth is getting warmer or the Earth is getting colder. I want to know why. To say that to say this is okay. All right. I remember back in the 80s when all of this ozone talk was going on and that it was aerosol, right, in the cans. And, if you're spraying hairspray, you're contributing to the hole in the, that's an awful lot of friggin' hairspray and underarm deodorant. Remember that? Remember Right Guard?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It was all these aerosol. Do you know what? I don't think they're spraying aerosol like we are here in Los Angeles in Africa, right? No way. I don't think that is contributing to it. I really don't. I think that was bad science. Again, save your email. I can already see, and hear all of it. I'm saying at a global level, I look at the smog that was here in Los Angeles in 1984.
Oh, yeah, I remember that well.
Couldn't breathe. It hurt if you went outside and went, right?
Or the early 70s.
Oh, man.
It was worse.
It was brutal. It was brutal. But was this doing something around the world? It could be. It could be a little bit of it. Unchecked countries like India or China, they didn't care. But I can tell you now, today, we don't have smog in Los Angeles. It doesn't exist. It pure and simply doesn't exist. Is it electric cars? Is it hybrid vehicles? It is that. Is it part of the EPA standards that have been put on factories and smokestacks? Sure. Everything contributes over a broad, it's a little bit of a lot of things that are contributing to it. But I can tell you, in Pasadena in 1984, I walked out in front of my house, and I couldn't see the house across the street because there was a green smog in the air. I couldn't see a block down the road. Okay, it's not like that anymore. It's not. So why is this continuing? Why is this upward trend? Is it nature? Is it the oceans? I don't know. Is it something that is natural? The eye opener for me, and I really mean this. The eye opener for me is when the planet is 4.5 billion years old, and I've talked about this over and over again. 4.5 billion years. The last 2,000 years, where we've had this modern age of man. Do you know what that is on the blip of 4.5 billion years? It's nothing. Nothing. And we have gone through one event after another. The dinosaurs are gone. Right? They're
That's
gone.
What I mean. We're unlucky if it's happening.
Right. So there you go. So how's Texas doing? I know I asked you all the time, but Harvey was no joke. How's Texas doing, and how is that great state?
We're lucky. Texas is robust. It has a lot of resources. It's a big state. And if it had to happen anywhere, I'm glad it happened here because we're bouncing back faster than most states and areas can. But at the same time, it gets back to what you were saying because of, especially in the Houston area, because all those refineries and chemical plants were damaged. It's increased the pollution levels. It's messed, they're just pumping out junk they weren't pumping out before, just trying to reset themselves. So that's the bad part. The good part, it's a robust state with a lot of resources, and it's big enough to bounce back quicker than most places. That article is fantastic. Can you Twitter out the link? I'd like to share it.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do during the break. Okay, and until then, I'll see you tomorrow night on Coast, and of course Saturday night, and we'll do the End of the World party together.
Sounds great, buddy. Thank you.
Have a great night. And I feel so bad for so much of the world right now when you think about Harvey, Irma, Maria, the two earthquakes in Mexico, what is going on in different countries around the world with the weather. And what happened to Puerto Rico? Puerto Rico, I was watching some video today, and that they were leveled. Joshua P. Warren, we're going to head towards a break here. Joshua P. Warren, who has a house in Puerto Rico, lives in Asheville, South Carolina, was on the show a couple of months ago, and we were talking about, unrelated to hurricanes, right? But we were talking about the infrastructure of Puerto Rico and the electrical system there. And the reason why we were talking about it had nothing to do with hurricanes. We were talking about the governor there saying that legalizing marijuana and getting the profits from growing pot and getting into the legalization that is going across the United States, that they would be able to take that, help their debt problem, and also go and rebuild the electrical grid, right? And Joshua and I were just talking about that, and then boom, this happens. Now the sad part and the crazy part about it, and the positives, the sad and the positive thing is this. They are now able to go and do what they wanted to do to begin with. Washington, D.C. will be there to assist and get their infrastructure rebuilt there that needed to get done anyway. I know it sounds funny, and I know that they're going to be without power for a while, but Puerto Rico is going to be robust, new, and rebuilt here very soon. And our thoughts and hearts are with not only Puerto Rico, but all of the islands there in the Caribbean, and Cuba went through it. Of course, we have nearly all of Florida that was affected by this, and then we have Houston and the Gulf Coast and Texas, and of course Mexico City. Just absolutely nuts. So with that, I've got to get to a break here, and we're going to do that. But before we do, a couple of stories that I've got upcoming for you, and of course, if you're on hold, stay right there. But I've got some network security issues that are absolutely crazy on how, even if you're air-gapped, how hackers have worked their way into your life. And it's not quite what you think. And have you heard about, by the way, the settlement that Facebook has reached with the government? Not the Russian ads. No. That's not what I'm talking about. There was a court case that got dropped. Facebook won. And I've got that story for you next. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fadernight. If you're on hold, you stay right there. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with us.
You are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheTea.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheTea.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Tepe.
I'm Matt Ray with America's First News. We all know if you're planning a trip, you should shop and compare, right? But why endlessly search the web when you don't have to? Flight Services helps you find the lowest possible airfare. Talk directly to a travel pro right now for the best deals available. Their travel pros have additional discounts not found on websites, and Flight Services provides 24-hour customer service. Call toll-free 844-845-9944. That's 844-845-9944.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fader Nights. Open lines all night long. Great calls tonight. Man, favorite night of the week. Call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to you in just a second. I just popped up in Twitter. Who saw what I just, popped up in the bunker cam during the break, right? So I got up in the bunker, stretch my legs, which I do. I sit for 30 minutes at a crack, and we head to commercial break, and I get up and stretch my legs and, get the blood pumping. And I tripped over this. And see, if you're on the bunker cam, you can see it. Yeah, it is what you think it is. Yep. I tripped over this, and I picked up. It's an autographed Kobe basketball. How cool is that? Right? Just on the floor here in the bunker. A Kobe autographed basketball. All right. What are you doing? Yeah, there you go. You guys saw it. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, it's Shane in Mesa, Arizona. How are you?
Shane in Mesa, Arizona. What part of Mesa? Far east side? Are you far east or are you on the Phoenix side of Mesa?
I'm actually on the far east, kind of the northeast side of Mesa.
Yeah, cool part of Mesa. Love Mesa. Good food, too.
There is a lot of good food out here.
Yeah, trust me, I know. I love Mesa. Love Mesa. Okay, what's on your mind tonight, Shane?
Well, hey, I wanted to respond to this idea about this, 300 gigatons of carbon in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And I first off, you hear that and you start going, wow, well, gee, is there something to be concerned in where we're at now and all that? But the question is that, the ocean doesn't have uniform distribution in it. And, you look at the currents in the ocean like you have currents in the air, and, look at what hurricanes do and the concentration of pressure and the amount of rain and all these different things. Well, I wonder about how you'd ever measure something like that. And, going back into the geologic, paleontological history, way back when, how would you ever be able to correlate how much carbon you might find in a particular layer of the soil at any particular depth to what might have been in the ocean at the time?
Right.
And so
Right.
a lot of this, I agree with the extinction events because, you can find that, right? There's fossil records at different depths, and so you can find these things. But you don't know, like you said, you don't know what causes it, what starts it off. And so, and I think about like the Pacific Rim, we've got the Pacific Ring of Fire and all the volcanoes that we have and plate subduction, if you look at plate tectonics and all that, creating a lot of volcanic activity. And of course, at one time we had what was called Pangea, the entire 30% of the land mass of the Earth was actually all together. It wasn't separated into the 7 continents that we have now.
That's right.
So all those things, when they occur, you're going to end up having fissures that are going to create places for magma to come up from the core and all that. And all that volcanic activity creates an awful lot of carbon dioxide and different, types of gases that people think are causing the atmosphere to warm.
Now, this is Shane, and this is where I'm going to make you think, because what you just said, I agree with. And it's and the continental drift, right? All of that that happened. Think about those catastrophic. Think about what kind of, if that happened today. Well, I mean, just trip on this. What if the United States split in two, half of the United States drifted over and ran into Russia, right? What, right. Whoa, stop the car for a second. But it happened. Now, this is the thing, and this is where I need to stop you, and I want you to think about this. All of those events that caused all of the dumping or the possibility of dumping of carbon or methane or heat or lava, just crazy things that would cause not only a new cloud layer or dust, but poisonous gases and just ruining everything, right? But you know what? There's one key part to all of that. Man had nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Had nothing to do with it. Nothing. Now,
you have no control over it.
None. Are we contributing to this 310 gigaton number? Absolutely we are. Oh, now how much are we contributing to it? If you think about this, since the last mass extinction event, the buildup of carbon in the water, right, has happened naturally. We, man, over 100 million years or 50 million years, man, with its advanced technology, has been contributing to carbon in the water for a couple of hundred years. I don't think that Columbus and Magellan and the Vikings with their boats and dumping of trash into the ocean was contributing a whole lot to things. But it's only been going on at best for a couple of thousand years, right? At best. In a rapid clip, a rapidity, an uplift of it, and that ratio, certainly over the last couple of hundred years. We have. But it was going to happen anyway. So this number at 2,100 years, well, okay. If man wasn't here, would it have happened at 2,200? Right? Would we have gotten to 310 gigatons at the year 2,200 without man at all? And the Earth just goes through a reset. That's my point. And that's where I wanted to, I listen to, you are absolutely right in everything that you just said. The key thing there to all of that is there was no man. There was no man contributing to it. It was other factors. Right. And so are we just going through a cyclical, natural thing that the Earth has been doing over 4.5 billion years?
Right. And not only that, even if man had a hand in it in the past, and let's roll the odometer back 200,000 years ago, man still survived. We're still here. And, even though we've had some extinction events where supposedly we got down to, 20,000 world population of humans, and they were all in Africa in one spot for a while.
Right.
But we've certainly bounced back.
Well, and and Shane, this is where I'm going to stop you again. I just want you to think. Okay, that's all. And the audience, because they're listening to us. I want to correct you. Man isn't still here. No, the earth is still here. That's the difference. Man will come and go. Species will come and go. All of that it's the earth that has been here for 4.5 billion years. Not the dinosaurs, not monarch butterflies, not man. Man's going to come and go. There will be a time. Something crazy will happen. Some gnarly virus, some crazy thing, a meteor, some crazy thing. Something's going to happen, and our ride is going to come to an end. Hopefully, we'll be on starships and we'll be, recolonizing Mars, and we'll be in another star system, and we'll be bouncing through wormholes and black holes and multiple speeds of light, and, we're out at Alpha Centauri. That's all the reality of it. But I just want to correct you on one thing. In jest, my friend, just in jest, it's not man that's still here. It's the earth. It's the earth. Right. And the earth will be here after we're gone. So there you go. Man, Shane, thank you for the phone call, man.
Oh, you're welcome. And have a good night, Jimmy.
Yep, and go eat some food in Mesa. We'll see you tomorrow night on Coast to Coast. Have a good night.
Sounds good. I'll listen for you.
You got it. Thank you, Shane. Yeah, great phone call. Great phone calls all night tonight. 323-825-5045. 323-275-9695. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Scott. How are you, Jimmy? Hey, my guru.
Hey, Scott. How are you? Great fun. What conversation tonight going down, huh?
I'm telling you, this has been one hell of a 2 weeks. You've been on fire, baby.
We've been on fire for 5 years. But yes,
you know what? And you better take it easy this weekend. I'm worried about you.
Oh, you know what? We wonder about that myself. But every couple of weeks, every single month, it's the same thing. I've got to do a 7-day week and go and do it. It's okay, man. It's the life you chose, right?
Oh, well, I'm proud of you. And I've got a question for you. Actually, I got a few questions, so put on your seatbelt and tell Rita to hold on, okay?
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. When I was a kid, my dad and my mother used to take me to church every single Sunday. And I'm a lot like you. Now that I'm 54 years old, my wife wants to slap me in the face because she thinks I'm 20. I look like I'm 30. And everywhere I go, she's like, you're acting like a little kid. You're acting like a little kid. You're acting like a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I would sit in church, and the preacher would go through a lot of stuff. And I'd go, what about the aliens? What about the aliens? What about the aliens? And what is it about the religions with and that conflict with aliens? It's kind of... sorry, Jimmy, I almost lost you there.
Wow, what happened? See, that's why you don't bring up religion on this show. You just got popped in the head.
That's really weird. It was really strange. Sorry about that. But if you look at some of the quotes in the Bible, and you look at, they say that the cherubims are baby-face-like creatures. They come out of wheels out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that in my house there are many mansions. And I started going back through some of your history. You got Dale Harding, which was this week. It was great. Michael Lee Hill, Adam Ambrose, great interviews. And then I went to February 1st, 2017. Do you remember who you interviewed then?
Mm-mm. Who was it?
Whitley Strieber.
Okay.
And in that interview, when you were interviewing him, it's almost like you were kind of perplexed by what he was saying. And it was like he was almost like religious in that interview. And it made me go like, oh, wait a minute now. Is there some sort of connection? Are these guys cherubims? Aliens, the watchers, are protecting mankind in the skies, watching over humans that won't destroy themselves. What's your outtake on that?
My philosophy, which I have always stressed, Giorgio Tsoukalos on the show said it very well, and so is this. When we find out really what's going on, we will also come to an understanding that day, which is we were all wrong.
Yeah.
Everything is wrong. And now, and I'm talking about the Whitley's take on things, and I love sitting and talking to Whitley. He always opens up my eyes and forces me to think. He's been doing it for years, man, and he's changed his outlook on things. And every time he's changed his outlook on things, I change with him, right? Because, but it goes all the way across the board. The thing is, when it comes to not only religion but ancient mythology, all of the ancient cultures, every single one from every single continent, everywhere around the world, all said the same thing. We got our knowledge from the stars. We got our knowledge from up there. They came down here and taught us. They showed us. They, them, they came from up there. Not my friend, not my neighbor, not a scholar, not a human, but it came from up there. So I know that the Vatican knows something. I know that the different religions around the world know something. But we can't deny that one basic thing. It came from up there. The other aspect, but Scott, let me finish this, though. I have to finish the thought, which is this. No matter how advanced we are here, technically, cell phones, internet, Hubble telescopes, rockets, interstellar, this, that, Pioneer, Voyager, Cassini, this advanced tech, no matter how advanced we think we are, imagine what we would be in 10,000 years. In 1 million years, we would have no concept of our intelligence at that point. Any culture, any ET culture that has the ability to span the universe and the stars to get here to communicate to us is tens of thousands, if not millions of years more advanced than we are, and we don't have a clue. We don't have a concept. You think we can relate to that? We can't. And any technology that you don't understand is the same as magic. That is it. There is no other way to look at it. And so we wouldn't understand. Religion doesn't understand. They don't. And 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, somebody coming from the stars, coming down here and visiting this planet, you think Stone Age man knew what was going on? No. Didn't have a clue. So how do they talk about it? A wheel within a wheel. Let's call them angels. Let's call them gods. Let's call them whatever we can. So the civilizations here, the communities, the villages, the towns, they were able to digest what just happened. Let's just call it God. Let's call it God. Let's call it angels. Wait, what? Stone Age, 1,000 years ago, you think a villager, an uneducated person that can't read or write is going to understand an alien from another planet, from another solar system? They're going to understand.
That's what makes it so fascinating, so scary. It's like, what the hell?
Well, and that's it. And so you have to control. You have to make sure that nobody loses their minds. You have to make sure that the community is still farming, that is still being productive, having children, right? And hunting and gathering and doing things so we can survive on this planet. But if you turn around and you told your village of 1,000 people, that was E.T. on another planet. Dude, you've got pandemonium. You need to make sure that bread is cooked that day so everybody can eat. You didn't have a supermarket that you were going to. And that's really my take on it. Would we understand it? No. Did we understand it back then? No. The safe way out, as with everything, and especially with religion, is to control the masses, the opium for the masses. You need to be able to control everything. And just to be able to put that label on it, God, which I'm okay with. I'm literally okay with that. It's okay. Because we are here today to talk. We had order, if the chaos, the craziness that would have happened if that kind of knowledge was laid down on us that we don't even understand. We wouldn't understand it today. Scott, we wouldn't.
Well, earlier tonight, you were talking about that, and you were saying that people not believing in there's some sort of not a grand design. There's got to be a grand design. I mean, you look at the function at the inner ear. I mean, the equilibrium process. That's crazy. It's got to be designed by something.
Yeah. I mean, does nature have the time to evolve like that? That's the trippy thing for me. When it comes
I don't think so.
Human, Homo sapien sapien, us, today, us. We can go back through the mitochondrial DNA and look at the origins of everything and come up with some round numbers. 125,000 years, 150,000 years. It's now been pushed back to maybe on the outside of that, 200,000 years. San Diego and that discovery a couple of months ago is pushing that back to 250,000 to 300,000 years. That is not enough time to do any evolving at all. The cranium, our structure, our bones, the things that make us today. This, if Darwin is correct, takes millions and millions and millions of years to evolve. We just showed up here upright and correct and smart, speaking, language, voice boxes, comedy, humor, sadness, laughter, communication. All of these things happened very, 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 very quickly. Now, I'm not saying it was God. Could be. I'm not saying there's a grand creator. Could be. Is there something out there in the universe that is doing it? Could be. Or were we just, planted here? Did somebody alter our DNA? That is the easiest answer for all of this. And it's hard for people to wrap their heads around. The safe road for everybody is, it just happened. There are very, very smart, educated people out there that want me and you to believe that lightning struck from the sky, hit a piece of maturing DNA in some crazy chemical compound on a crystal in a creek bed and hit that DNA. And I'm serious now. This is not going to happen. I know. And I'm telling you, this is what is taught, right? And that the DNA fixed itself and it was just a magical thing that happened. And it was an accident. Dude, stop with that. I'm just not buying into it. So anyway, Scott, again, thank you. You always have the great phone calls. Thank you so much, my friend.
I could go for hours with you, and you take yourself very easy this weekend, man, and God bless you, all the fader nuts out there. Thank you so much.
We'll see you tomorrow night on Coast, Scott. Be safe, my friend.
Take care.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I got time for one more phone call. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Yeah, Jamie, Brad here.
Oh, hey, Brad. How are you, man?
Doing really good, man. Enjoying the night as usual. Great caller. Last caller was rad. He was on it, and just wanted to add to that as well as what you guys were talking about was I just feel like in the last 5 years, I mean, maybe since 2012, the consciousness level has really risen.
It has.
And I'm feeling, especially with your show, I mean, we're just getting deeper and deeper every year, every episode. It's phenomenal, and it really warms my heart. And to all the faders out there tonight, they know what I'm talking about.
What I want to know, Brad, is Saturday night, end of the world. What is going to be on your grill?
Oh, shoot. Probably a bunch of ribeyes or something. You know how I do it. A little coffee rub, some Riverman coffee with a little layer of some pepper and salt, and maybe a little garlic on there, too.
Yeah, man. We did a prime rib roast a couple of days ago, and a whole roast, right? The whole rack. And cut it down along the bottom of the bone, flipped it over, flipped it up, stuffed that with whole garlic, cloves, salt and pepper over the whole thing, closed it up, and then Fade to Black blend coffee rub over the whole thing on the grill. It was done 125 degrees, 126 degrees, medium rare. It was done in about 90 minutes. And you're
making me hungry.
Oh man, it was amazing.
Dude, well, not only are you a radio master, but you are a grill master. I think
I am a grill master.
It's between throwing our ideas back and forth, dude. I think I'm slowly catching up to you, brother.
Look, it's funny, but ancient wise men say that if you are going to brag at what you are good at, because then you're not wrong. And I'm telling you right now, I am a grill master. Done.
True that. I want to see more pictures, though. You're not showing any more pictures.
No, I know. Well, see, look, the other night when we did the prime rib roast, I got to tell you, it cooked fast. And we had other stuff going on inside of the house and outside. And the next thing you know, we were sitting at the table eating. And I thought, man, I didn't post pictures of this, so there you go. Plus, I'm battling Rita with that. She's like, do you have to post everything you grill? I'm like, yeah, of course I do, So
yeah, we look forward to that, at least I do anyways. And I'm actually going out to Joshua Tree of all places tomorrow, doing a little work on my buddy's cabin. And he's like, what do you want me to bring? I got the grill, this and that. And I'm like, you know what? Let's try some ribs. Let's do a slow smoke on those bad boys while we're working all day. And it'll be kind of fun. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe I'll throw a couple pictures out and see what we got going on.
Well, there's that. And also you gotta keep looking up in the skies out there. Something is going to go down in Joshua Tree. It always does. And with that, Brad, I got to roll, man. I got to close this show out. Thank you so much, man.
Right.
We'll see you tomorrow night on Coast, and have a good time out there in Joshua Tree.
Faders rock.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Good night.
All right. With that wraps another Fader night here on Fade to Black. I want to thank all of the callers tonight. Amazing. Back-to-back phone calls. And it is my favorite night of the week, and that's why it makes it so special. Thank you, everybody. And I do mean that. There is nothing like a Thursday night here in the bunker. I mean, it's a perfect night. Don't forget that. Tomorrow night, I'm over at Coast. My guest is Dane Wigington. We're going to be doing geoengineering and the weather tomorrow night, followed by open lines. Saturday night over at Coast. That's it. It's our September 23rd End of the World special event. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster, Drew, The Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to the one and only Jon Rappoport tonight and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, and everybody that called in, tweeted, and the chat rooms. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Tomorrow night, Coast to Coast AM. I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.